Hey everyone, you're live with Necee. I am your host, Opal Bailey, and I have with me Mark Palmer, who is a well-known artist here here in Brevard County. And we're going to do a little twist on our show today. Normally, I will be interviewing him. Well, he's going to be interviewing me. So, good morning, Mark.
And we just decided this right before going on the air, so I have no questions prepared. So
that's okay. That's how it is. You just flow with it. So what it is.
Opal, how did you get into this business?
Well, you know what? It all started. I'm going to go back when I'm cleaning. I have my own cleaning company, and I have a client who know my life story as far as a single mom, raising kids, and I was sharing it with them in the networking group that I was involved in at the Cocoa Chamber.
Okay.
And as I began to clean his home, we would talk, and so we're friends. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Hey, Opal, I think that you should go on the radio," which I was petrified. And I was like, no way. And his name is Dick Bomback. He said, "Hey, no, you need to meet Jeff Heiser because you need to get on the radio. You need to talk, and you have the personality, you have the voice." And but I still was nervous. Even though I love talking, I still was nervous.
Sure.
And so it took me like 2 weeks before I even told him okay. And then when I came in and I met Jeff Heiser, and he said, "Okay, well, go on and say what you want to say." And I went on and I blew Jeff away. And he said, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna be great. Let's roll with it." And I've been doing this. I think now it's been about 4 to 5 months now.
Really, just 4 to 5 months?
Yeah.
Okay. So that first time you went on, were you on by yourself just talking, or were you interviewing somebody 4 or 5 months ago?
No, my first talk show is Overcoming Life, and it's a 10-minute morning on a Monday morning show.
Right.
I'm on the radio station at 9:05 in the morning on every Monday morning. And I chose the topic Overcoming Life because that identified with my life as an overcomer. Again, like I said, I raised 4 girls. 4 girls. On my own. Wow. And single mom. And I was a welfare recipient. And I knew within myself that there was more in me and more for them that I can do. So I made a decision one day. I said, enough is enough. I'm not going to be on this assistance. It's not doing anything for me.
So not all welfare recipients stay on welfare their whole lives, right, Opal?
That is true.
Okay, good.
That is true.
Just wanted to make that point.
That is true.
That's awesome.
And you have to have that desire to want to do better. That's the key of getting off of it, because the government make it so easy to stay on it. Because why would I work if I'm getting money? Why would I have to go and ask someone for food if you're giving me food? So they make it easy for a person to stay on it and to become dependent on it. But for me personally, when I was raising my kids, I got pregnant at the age of 18. I did graduate school, but in my senior year, I was bedridden for my first child.
Wow.
So I had to have a tutor. And even though the tutor was there, and even though I did, the big daughter came and I walked across the stage, deep inside of me, I always felt I was cheated. Because I really didn't get the fullness of my education because of even though the tutor does what they do, but they really don't sit down and they really don't give you that attention. Right. They just come in, get your paper, and go by and bring you another homework assignment, and then back and forth. So.
And you missed out on the classroom situation with all the other students and that interaction as well. Yeah,
I did. I really had a rough time when I first had my daughter because I wasn't a person that had a group of people around me. I was very selective with who I had with me because I always thought that who you associate, you become.
Which is true.
Yeah. So I purposely hung around limited amount of friends. But the moment that they found out I was pregnant, they literally one by one was like gone. So I was there. No one called. No one came by. No one. When you talk about friends that hung with you every single day, came over your house and ate and hung out with you, and you went over there, you spent the night, nothing. It just like it all ceased. And so with that separation and then being pregnant at the age of 18, being at home, being a disappointment to my mom, and not having friends to help support, it was very difficult for me. So go ahead. You're about to ask me something.
I'm just, and I'm going off on tangents, but you said disappointment to your mom.
Yeah.
Okay. What about your dad?
Well, my dad was there. My dad, he worked a lot. My dad worked 3 jobs. Well, he retired from the Army, and he worked as a janitor, and he worked at the Newport shipyard.
Wow. So is this in Virginia?
In Virginia. Okay. Yeah, I'm originally from Virginia, born and raised in the borderline of Hampton and Newport News. So my dad his presence was very known there, but his voice wasn't, because he's very quiet. I won't say he's passive, but he would speak when he needed to be spoke, and we all knew Hefner spoke, when he say, you do, right. So he worked a lot, but my mom was more of a homemaker. She was at home a lot. Okay. And our relationship was very strained because when I was, earlier before I got pregnant, I was going into the Air Force. I've always wanted to go in the Air Force. Okay. So with that, I didn't go in. And again, I made a decision not to go in because I didn't want to, give my child to my mom or a brother or a sister or whoever to watch in order for me to go in. I felt that was my responsibility. I need to tend to my responsibility. Okay. So, and I say a disappointment because my mom looked forward to me going into the Air Force. And sometimes as parents, when the child doesn't become what they want them to become or live the life they want to live, we get disappointed. And we treat them, and the treatment is disappointing, whether they don't do this for you, or they may hit you, or they may say, oh, you're going to be nothing. That's what I was told. You'll never be nothing. You're not going to do anything. Now you have a child, your life is ruined, all those things. So,
how many siblings do you have?
I have 5 brothers.
5, and where do you fall?
3 sisters.
Oh my God.
My mom married twice. My father only had 3 of my brothers plus me.
Okay, so you're 4th.
Yeah. I'm the 4th, yeah. And so my dad married my mom when she had 5 children. And I always say he's an honorable man, because you don't get that nowadays anyway. But so that's what I meant when I said disappointment. But I knew that my life would be better. Even in all of the hardship I was going through, I knew my life was going to be better. And when I was on welfare, I just felt deep inside that it's more to life than this, and that passion to want more and desire more. I think that kind of catapulted me, was my catalyst to say, okay, get up and go, and not expect anyone to do anything for me. I got up and I went to work, and I worked jobs I didn't want to work because.
What were some of the jobs?
I worked at a warehouse company. It was called Shorewood Packing, and it produced hair color boxes, toothpaste boxes, and we just packed them up, video covers. And I was one of the stockers. I was at the end of the machine, and I would box them up. And it was a 12-hour shift. Well, some days it was even longer because they give you mandatory time. So with that, getting off of work from 11 to 7, having to go home, take care of my kids. And sometimes I would fall asleep at the red light. I do admit that. And then sometimes I would oversleep to go get my kids from school because I was so exhausted. But I looked at all of those challenges. I looked at working there, working at 7-Eleven, working at a hotel, as a hostess. So I did a lot of variety of jobs. Sure. I didn't have that mentality that I can't work unless it's this. Good. I looked at, no, I gotta work to get off of this so I can move forward and get that, Wow. So
that's inspiring. That's great. How has it affected your children?
Oh, I think it was, I think in the beginning, it was really rough for us because as a single mom, not knowing how to take care of your children, you have habits and you raise them hard. I was really hard on them because I felt, well, one, I'm the mother. I have girls. I didn't want my children to be coming home and having babies, So I was very strict on them.
So you didn't want them to follow the same track that you followed. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it. So,
and is that what your mom wanted for you? To excel more than she did in some ways and to be successful?
I believe that's what it was, because my parents were born in the Great Depression time. And my mom's mother passed away when she was 16. She died of cancer at the age of 16.
Wow.
So she's the only child, so she didn't have anybody else. Well, my dad is opposite. He had brothers and sisters and stuff, but when they got married, they married in that era, you know, and then they were Black people at that time, and they wasn't very, treated very well. And so with that in mind, she already had 5 kids, and then she met someone, and now she had 4. And I believe she did. I believe that she wanted me to aspire better, because she only went to the 8th grade. My dad only went to the 7th grade. And so that was a challenge for them as well. And so, but looking back, I thank my mom for what she did and how she did treat us and raise us, because that came to be a strong character in me. It was like the things I went through personally, spiritually, and with her, it was as if a foundation was being built to give me backbone when situations come up and when things come your way and they don't always be the way you want. Right. Sometimes we can run from them. Sometimes we can blame other people. But God put in me to look at what I'm going through and look at the future. Look at, it's better. This is where you are, but you don't have to stay here. There is a possibility for you to move forward. And I always kept the forward view, not the back view. Right. So with that, that's great.
Did you always have this positive outlook on life?
Oh, heck no. 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 When I was growing up, in our home, my mom was the voice, because she was there with us all the time. She was a good mom. We never lacked anything. She cooked all the time, fabulous cook, and took care of the home. But we wasn't able to share our feelings. We were more or less, our feelings was more suppressed, because it was, you do what I say, and don't talk back. And even if you want to say something, it was as if you're talking back. Even if you want to voice something, it's like you're disrespecting. So that's what I was raised up under. But it changed when I had my own kids. Okay. And I began to realize that, what I was taught was affecting them. So I either going to continue to cycle, or I was going to look at assess myself, evaluate my own personal life, and say, okay, Opal, are you going to change? You got to change this. You have to let them know that their voice matters. You have to let them know that they have the opportunity, they have the right to share their feelings, whether you agree with it or not. So in that time of maturing and growing, I realized that with them, I had to allow them to speak. But in allowing them to speak, God was showing me that, hey, not only do they have a voice, but you have a voice. You matter. What you have to say does make a difference. There are people that do or want to hear what you have to say. So start speaking out. So in the process of teaching them and helping them, God was bringing it out on me. And so now I can't shut up. I just keep talking.
And that's when your positive attitude developed?
Yeah, that's when my positive attitude developed. And it also matured even more when I had my 4th child. And I was talking to God, and I said, Lord, I don't know if I could do this because it's hard, And he told me that I was with you before. For the first one, I'm going to be with you no matter what. And that was like a life-changing experience for me, to hear someone say, I will never leave you. I will always be with you, no matter what you do, no matter where you are, no matter what's going on in your life. And I remember asking him, well, you have to give me something to hold on to for me to keep moving on and come over and, and deal with these situations. And he said,